We have a big up candle, right? Obviously, if this does get engulfed, can that potentially be an institutional candle to play off of? Maybe, right? That could be a sign of us potentially distributing. So I mean, if we do end up getting, this to be an institutional candle, right? Then maybe we can look for sales to the downside. We could either see a reaction off of here. We do see accumulation type price action there, or maybe we end up sweeping that even further, right? Getting back into gaps and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe short-term reaction could be to the downside, but I think that long-term, I mean, we still haven't really, seen a clear, thing there yet, right? Let's go lower time frame here, see what we're seeing. I just want to see if we took all this internal liquidity or not. Okay, it looks like we did, right? So we do see the market here on the 5-minute barely getting up and above the last piece of internal liquidity when we did have that pullback. Typically if we were wanting to see something like that happen, I mean, like a push to the downside, something like that would be ideal. When we look at the smaller time frame, we can kind of see how price creates almost like this tight range, right? And then we end up having an institutional candle at the top and we start to break down, right? So not bad price action there at the top in terms of, really if we were to look for, potential sells. Obviously our bigger picture narrative is still bearish. But, at least from the price action we're seeing so far, this isn't bad, right? GU looks more interesting. If I were to do the devil's advocate kind of play, and if I were to look for those sells on dollar, I would probably use GU. What we can see happened here is we have those same relatively equal lows that are the same highs that happen on dollar, but the way that, GU took them out was much more interesting. Okay, we can definitely see here, right? What kind of price action do we got? Well, we got kind of like this liquidity inducing moment here, right? We got relatively equal lows sitting in this area. Okay, we see the market really trade away very aggressively. All right, and then we end up coming down for our spring, right? So that's exactly the kind of thing we'd want to see in accumulation, is this kind of move. So potentially this could be like our STM phase B, this could be our UT, this could be our BC, this could be our AR, right? And then when we come down here to the bottom with the spring, right, we actually do get a beautiful 1 hour institutional candle at the bottom as we go ahead and take this point of liquidity, right? We see that wick getting taken and everything. So yeah, we do kind of actually have, a type 2 setup setting up if we were to look at basically the market like this, where, obviously what happened last week was a short-term distribution. And then, we end up getting like the reaccumulation happen today, right? I don't know, right? I'm not sure. But, again, if I were to look for those dollar sells, it does look like GU would be the one to use because it has the cleanest setup down here, right? And then now we can see the market has, kind of traded back into where that spring was, right? With a very aggressive move to the downside. We obviously did take a lot of internal lows. So we took lows like this one, the ones that go ahead and made this happen on the way up. We did not take this last internal low, right? So I mean, technically could still be order flow, right? In terms of like us just holding there and then continuing to buy could happen. But we'll see, right? But yeah, we do see distribution type price action up here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially with how aggressive we come down and take all the lows, right? So again, that could be another sign of reaccumulation happening. We did respect this previous high here. But again, like that's not a bad thing, right? That's typically how we do see accumulations play out, is we want to really bring in those sellers, right? So, we're not stopping out sellers, right? We're kind of keeping them in. And then, obviously we end up getting an explosive buy later on. So not gonna lie, GU is an interesting one for a type 2. If we were to see the price action from, Monday continue, right? Because this must be Monday. Yeah, this is Monday. Obviously things would get invalidated down here and then I would really stay away. But not bad, right? Not bad. There is potential for kind of like accumulation type price action. I like how we have this big buy up. I like how we kind of stayed in this consolidation for the most part. And really we can see like once we get out of, this range between this low and this high, that's when we really get extreme type price action movements, right? Really quick, snapping us right back in. So GU is interesting. That's all I'm saying. Big moves down. We'll see how the market reacts in this low. Probably put 8 alerts down here. I could still see GU doing its thing, man. 1 hour still isn't bad. But yeah, 15-minute here, it's like, this could still be a trap. If this next one we're doing golf. That's why I'm like kind of interested in it. We still had this high. We didn't break that one, All right, guys. Honestly, I might take a go here at GU. Like I'm seeing a 1-minute institutional candle, right? If we do get this 15-minute to engulf, then it could be a trap candle kind of play. I'd probably only go with like, stops for this low here. And then 1 to 3 would be us breaking the highs up into there. Like 1-minute institutional candle there coming down. Could be just a sweep on internal liquidity before then starting to come right back up. Getting ready here. All right, guys, I went ahead and took an entry here on GBPUSD. All right, we're risking about 20 pips or so on this order here. Where can't I go to? Markets. Here we go, market. And we're just going to see if these recent lows hold or not. So I'm going to be risking about 1 full RR here, okay, across this area. All right, we're going to see if this order flow here can hold. Entries are sitting right around here. Okay, good initial reaction there. All right, the idea is going to be, can we see this 15-minute turn into a trap candle? Go ahead and continue to buy up. We saw us come back into this 15-minute candle. That came back into that one. That we can see also came into imbalance here. So we're looking to see if this order flow can hold for this potential type 2 entry model. And so kind of the idea just being like, all right, we're sweeping the low of the previous, zones, right? And again, seeing how the 15-minute came up, right? We create like that top wick there, come right back down, create that trap candle back in the zone. And then when we created this wick here, when we swept the low of the trap candle, we see that fractal sign of manipulation happen right there with that 1-minute institutional candle, right? Then after that, right, we see the trap candle happen right before we boom, right? This trap candle is where we took our entry, right? And then we, obviously have seen the next one's now completely engulfed. So for me now, looking at this, I think it's actually going to be more likely we continue to go, especially given that now we've almost completely engulfed the down move here on the 15-minute, right? So we have 7 minutes and 30 seconds left for this candle. Yeah, looking not bad, looking pretty good. We did get the chance to use a smaller stop as well, just kind of, using the order flow, right? Again, low to high, low to high, low to high. That's what we're kind of looking for. First target is going to be the high of the accumulation, which is going to be all the way up top here. That would give us about a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. Did you guys get in, or was it too fast for y'all? Let me know. I'm in, too fast, dog. Sorry to hear that, Brewski. Got in late. Okay, but you're in. Yeah, I didn't like it initially with how everything had closed before, like the 30-minute and all that stuff. But again, if the next candle just comes down, I mean, it's still valid. Even with the 1 hour, it's like we kind of expected, all right, can we be a trap here? And then the next one becomes bearish, but this being bullish still isn't a bad thing, right? It still could be reaching up, and then the next one, we get our expansion move down, right? So basically, if we relate our entry to dollar, our entry would be right here, basically, like right at the low. It was right before that big candle, so it would be right here, right? And then our stop would be like, right, especially like now we have this 15-minute up candle, and we have the 15-minute trap candle, and we ran the high of the trap candle. So we're just really gonna want to have the, trap candle obviously close the way that we want it to. Hey guys, I have to go to the bathroom, which is, annoying because we're doing this, but I'll be back. All right, guys. Hopefully the trade just keeps going our way. Okay, I am back, and look at us go. Look at us go. Love to see that. Love to see it. So bathroom breaks are good for trades. Now we know, we have learned. Okay. GU is booming. Let's go. We are up 20 pips right now, 1-to-1 risk to reward, right? Zero drawdown, absolutely zero drawdown. Look at that entry candle, man. This is what we call savagery where I'm from. I do think, like, again, this GU buy was difficult to position into, harder to position into than like looking for sells in these areas or anything. So I feel like that's probably going to be what will hold up personally. We might see like some internal lows get swept or whatever, but I think GU can end up, really, really pushing towards these highs. Okay, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, much love, much appreciation. Peace out.